In this video, I'm going to show you how the Studio tab works in bitStudio. And the Studio is where you get the most raw control over creating your shots here. And I'm going to show you the two different tabs that we have, the Generate tab and Virtual Try-On. In Virtual Try-On, it's quite simple. You have two options for image inputs here, the person and the outfit. The person is your base shot, which you're going to be using to replace clothing, and the outfit is the clothing that you're going to be adding into that photo. Let's give that a try. I have a simple shot of a person here, just a nice studio background, but this works in any context. Think lifestyle, active shots, dynamic poses. Our clothing engine is really good at adding stuff in, and it's going to look natural and realistic the whole way through. On the outfit side, it works just the same. I can just add a photo in, and here we get a pop-up to save it. It's actually just a UI size thing there. I can give it a name, save that outfit to the wardrobe, and I can actually add additional angles here to my outfits for doing different shots. We're going to leave that as it is for now. You have some options for different model choices, but I would recommend V3. And you can also give custom instructions with text if you wanted to add any sort of specific change or edit here. So I could say, change her shoes to sneakers. Now, I'm using the standard quality here, but Max is great for garments with a lot of text or artwork on there that you need to replicate with a lot of detail. Standard does a really good job as it is though, so I would recommend starting there and switching to Max if you're getting results that look a little bit off. And we've got our result back now. If I open this up, we can actually see that dress has been added and that text edit I gave with the sneakers has been applied here. There's actually a little bit of ghosting happening here. It looks like it didn't fully replace the shoe, the heel of that high-heeled shoe. But don't worry about that right now because I'm going to show you how we fix that in the editor in just a little bit. This is the photo viewer. You can favorite, download, see metadata, and use a few other tools here, as well as see the reference photos that you used to create this one. What about the Generate tab? Make this a little bigger here. The Generate tab is where you can generate photos completely from scratch. So think about here, I used a few reference photos of a person and an outfit. And here we have a few options for controls. It's a little bit more stuff. So let's dive in and see how this works. We have controls for our avatar or model, their outfit, the set, and the style. We've split this up so it's easy to manage your shoot almost like a director from this box. You have kind of separate callouts for these things, as well as kind of a catch-all area here to add text. And let's see how that works. For avatar, I can open this up just by tapping that box here. You can see I have an option to select from a bunch of our defaults that we have here. So we have included quite a few out of the box to get started, and we'll always be adding more here. But we also make it possible for you to add a photo and create your own. There's also a separate pose here if you have a fixed pose that you'd like to do. These are some base options for kind of nice product focused shots. But you can also describe anything you want from scratch. So as you can see, I haven't selected anything here. It's in this describe mode. So I could actually just describe a person in this text box here. So, man with brown hair, whatever you might be, you can be as descriptive as you'd like. But you can also create your own. Creating your own here is just as easy as it was to add a photo on that virtual try-on tab. So why don't we use the photo that I used before? I can add a photo here. I can actually crop that in to the face just to give kind of a character reference. You can use any photo as long as it's a clear shot of that person's face. Confirm our crop here. We're going to do a little bit of analysis to get their base characteristics. So again, kind of an initial read on who this person is, and you can always tweak this at any time, but think of this as their base canonical appearance. You can actually customize this on the fly, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. So we can give our avatar a name. Let's go with Marge for now, and I'll create avatar. And that's actually all it takes. And now that I have one selected, and even if I selected a default, I would have this option. So that describe from scratch box is now a modifier box down here. And that can be used for pretty much anything I want. So I could specify, say, hair in a ponytail. I could specify black hair in a ponytail. I could do any sort of kind of modification to this base canonical appearance right here without overriding their settings. But at any time, if I wanted to change that, I could always go in and, edit that here. But we want to make it easy for you to do, again, kind of like a director call out for each shot, how that works. So you have full control here to do that at any time. The outfit tab works in a pretty similar way. I could describe anything from scratch, say for a neutral shot. If I just wanted kind of a base shot, I was testing some stuff out. I could describe anything I wanted here. But you're probably interested in this wardrobe section. Just like before, you can upload any photo you want. You'll get that same save pop-up to add your photos in here. From our outfits here, I can actually select up to 3 items from the wardrobe at once. Say the shirt and pants, I can select both of those. And just like before with the avatar, once I've selected something, I can describe additional modifiers to that. I could say, style it by saying shirt loosely tucked in. I could add, again, kind of like I did with that virtual try-on, white sneakers. I could do really anything that I want here to kind of customize my shot output. And then I've got a few things selected here. I can close this again, and let's take a look at sets. So just like with the avatars, we actually have a few default things built in here that you can use, but you always have control to describe that down here from scratch. We give you some options here to do anything that you'd like. And you also have the ability to upload reference photos to use as a set. And there are 2 modes when you do this. You'll see description only and exact. And when you do that, say you give a reference photo, description only will look at that and almost use that as like a vibe inspiration, right? Like if you do a nice picture of a beach, almost like you have down here, like if we had this nice photo, you could upload this. It wouldn't be this identical setting, but it would be used as the inspiration, kind of the mood board image for where that shot is located. And just like before, if I selected something, I can always describe additional pieces here. In exact mode, if I uploaded a photo of a set, that'll try and use that room as closely as possible, that environment, as true to form as it is in that photo. And you can change angles and do other things when you've done that. For now, I'm just going to select this tropical beach setting. It kind of works with this outfit that I've gone with here. But I'm also going to add some text. So say white boardwalk cabana. Let's see if that's a kind of good base shot to use here. We can close that here. And finally, the last thing we can see here is style. And style is, as you'd expect, that's an aesthetic control that you get over your shots. And we have a few things built in here, just kind of, again, out of the box that our system is built to use. I like this analog one quite a bit, but we do have options for pretty much anything that you might be interested in. Like I mentioned, we also have this kind of scene call out box here at the bottom always. So you can add kind of, this is your kitchen sink text input, right? Anything that you might want to change on the fly as you're doing some of these shots, you can control here. So like you saw, each of these have their own text control that you can use to kind of modify things. But here, add something like windy day, walking towards the camera, looking to the side, anything kind of compositionally, I can throw in here and do changes on a per shot basis. You also have control of your generative model here, either the in-house bitStudio one or now Nano Banana Pro, which is a little bit of higher credit count. I'll stick with our default for now. You can also choose the aspect ratio of your shot and the number of photos. I typically recommend doing a few photos at a time. Actually, before I do these shots, I realized I put white sneakers in here. I should do white sandals. We're on the beach. We're doing a boardwalk setup. I didn't think of that initially, but here we go. I'm going to change that to white sandals, set this to 2 photos, and let's see what we get. Close this tab for now. You can see all those details that I mentioned were taken into account here. So we are on this nice tropical beach with that white cabana boardwalk back here. We have the white sandals that I described with text, these pants and the shirt that I selected with the styling applied. So that kind of loose tucked in look here was done perfectly. It's a windy day, clearly that's picked up here. She's looking to the side and walking towards the camera. So you get a lot of fine-grained control in bitStudio in how your final shots look. But even within that, just the way the technology works, you're going to get some variety if you do multiple shots. So I would recommend doing a couple if you're, generating, you have that option to do two at once. It's nice to see how you can get again some different options through something like this. So even here we can see now she's on the kind of whiteboard walk area here, and that loose tucked in thing that I mentioned was actually here interpreted as kind of like a tied version, but the detail on the shirt is still really good. Pants look great, and the sandals were applied just as we expected. So there is some variance that you're going to get in bitStudio. That's natural to the technology, but play with your language, play with your wording, and see how you can evoke the best results out of it. Once you get the hang of it, it becomes a lot easier to get really great shots like these using just a few photos and just a few simple kind of call outs for your shot. So that's the overview for our studio tooling, including our virtual try-on and generate tab for doing raw shots from scratch. The next thing I'm going to show you in our next video is going to be how to use some of these additional tools that I pointed out in the photo viewer. That's the upscaler, the editor, using video. That's coming in our next video. So hopefully this was helpful to you. You can always reach out to us at hello@bitstudio.ai with any questions, comments, or feedback. We take that feedback very seriously. So if there are ways we can make BitStudio better for you, don't hesitate to let us know.